Sorry, members, I'll have to start again. I'd like to welcome everyone to this hybrid meeting of the Statutory Licence Committee. This meeting is being broadcast live over the internet and will be available to view online now and in the future. May I remind members that the statutory guidance made under Section 4 of the Local Government Wales Measure 2011 and our formally adopted hybrid meeting policy. Any member attending the meeting remotely must be able to be seen and heard by the members and officers who are attending the meeting, as well as by members of the public viewing the meeting. So can I ask that you all please use your cameras for the duration of the meeting. We welcome the use of the Welsh language at meetings. I've had no requests for people to speak Welsh today, so this meeting will be conducted in English only. Members in the chamber, please be aware that we're all on camera and that you may be visible on screen when people around you are speaking, and please remember to speak clearly into your microphones. Members participating remotely, can you please refrain from using the chat function and instead use the raised hand icon to indicate when you want to speak. Please remember to keep your microphone muted when you are not talking. Now moving on to the agenda. Item 1 is attendance and apologies. Jade, have we got any apologies, please?
Thanks, Chair. We've had apologies from Councillor Cowles.
Right, yes, thank you. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Members, do you have any interest to declare anyone? No, that's great, thank you. And then we move on to item 3 then, which are the minutes of the last meeting, which were on the 11th of the 3rd, 25, and that's on the pack of page 3 to page 6. Members could probably state whether you have anything to raise in relation to the minutes. If not, I will take them as approved. Anybody got anything to raise? No? No. We'll take them as approved, thank you. We move on to item 4, which are minutes of the previous licensing hearings, which are page 7 to 15 on the pack. Members, are you happy to note the minutes? Yeah. Everybody okay with that? Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you for that. We now work on to item number 5, which is the workload update, quarters 3 and 4, and that's from October 24 to March 25. And I'll pass you over to Claire Howells, the Team Manager for Licensing and Trading Standards. Please, can you give us a report? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The first report for Statutory Licensing Committee this afternoon is to update members on the work undertaken by the licensing team during the reporting period, which is October 24 to March 2025. The purpose of the report is to update the committee on the work undertaken, which falls to the Statutory Licensing Committee, and the licensing functions, those being the Licensing Act 2003, the Gambling Act 2005, and the Special Procedure Wales Regulations 2004. Section 4 of the report details an overview of the complaints received and dealt with by the licensing team during the reporting period. Members will note that there's been complaints received regarding allegations of noise nuisance, which have been passed to the Council's Environmental Health Team for further investigations. Information has been received alleging that alcohol has been sold to a person under the legal age. Information has been shared with the Council's Trading Standards team, who have responsibility for the prevention of age-related sales. During the reporting period, the licensing team dealt with an allegation that a business was selling alcohol without the required licence being in place. Contact has been made with the business owner, who denied the allegation, and advice and guidance has been provided to assist the business with obtaining any licences that may be required in the future. Members will note at paragraph 4.16 that an objection was received to a temporary event notice during the reporting period, and that objection was considered by the licensing panel. There's been 4 licensing panels hearings held during the reporting period relating to allegations made under the provisions of the Licensing Act 2003, and these are detailed in paragraph 4.2 of the report. There's been no complaints received during the reporting period in relation to the Gambling Act 2005. Members will be aware that a new licensing regime came into force in November 2024, that being special procedures. During quarter 4 of the reporting period, where the licensing team have been dealing with transitional licences, 59 applications were received in relation to the new licensing regime. These applications related to both premises approval certificates and practitioner licences. The team have also dealt with a complaint received which alleged that a business in the area has been performing one of the 4 licensable special procedures without the required permission being in place. The complaint was investigated and advice provided as necessary. At Appendix A of the report is the workload activities undertaken during the reporting period. Members will note that some of the targets in place have not been achieved. This is mainly due to staff resourcing pressures which members have been made aware of over the last 12 months, which has resulted in some delays in meeting service response times. The team are now fully staffed and we should see an improvement in these figures going forward. There's been no complaints against service received during the reporting period, which for matters fall into the Statutory Licensing Committee for determination. It is therefore recommended that the Licensing Committee note and comment on the contents of this report and note the activity report for October 24 to March 25. Thank you, Chair. That's my report.
Thank you for that, Claire. Has any members got any questions they would like to raise or comments? No, we're all quiet. Excellent, thank you. The recommendations are on page 18 of your agenda. Are members happy to agree that? Or? Yeah, so all members agree, so that's unanimous, thank you. If we now move on to item 6, which is the Licensing Act 2003 Policy Review. Claire, our Team Manager, Licensing and Training Standard, will you deliver a report, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to share my screen. So the second report this afternoon for Statutory Licensing Committee refers to the review of the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy. And the purpose of the report is to advise members of the outcome of the initial consultation that took place in respect of the Council's current Statement of Licensing Policy and to seek approval for a full consultation process of a revised draft version of the policy to be undertaken for the policy that will come into effect from the period the 1st of November 25 to the 31st of October 2030. Section 3 of the report provides a little background as to why we need to review the policy, which I've advised members in the past. The guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act provides guidance to local authorities on the development and preparation of local statements of licensing policy for publications by licensing authorities, the general principles that it is recommended should underpin them, and core content to which licensing authorities are free to add. And this has been taken into consideration when preparing a revised draft version. So the current Statement of Licensing Policy was approved at a meeting of the Council on the 15th of September 2020 and came into effect on the 1st of November 2020. It is required that the policy be reviewed and a new policy approved on or before the 1st of November of this year. In March 2025, members of the Statutory Licensing Committee approved the below timetable to comply with the statutory requirements of the policy review. There has been a slight change in the proposed timetable, which is highlighted in the table in red below. As part of the initial consultation process that the team undertook, we received one response from an Iron Bevan Public Health team, and this when we went out to seek views on the Council's current policy, and this is attached to Appendix A. A revised draft version of the policy has been prepared, taking into account the response received and other amendments, and this is attached at Appendix B. Members are now asked to approve the full consultation process of the revised draft version of the policy. The proposed revised draft is attached at Appendix B. Unfortunately, some of the track changes that have been made to the document has not come through on the conversion, so I apologise for that. What you see is the proposed draft version that we want to go out for consultation on, but unfortunately the track changes has not come through, so you can't see the changes that have been made. But when we come back to committee following consultation in September, those track changes will be shown for members' consideration. It is therefore recommended that members of the Statutory Licensing Committee Note the amended timetable for the review of the Council's licensing policy as set out in 4.2 of the report, and secondly, agree for consultation to be carried out with relevant stakeholders as required under the Licensing Act 2003 to seek views on revised draft version of the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy. Thank you, Chair. That's my report.
Thank you, Claire, for that. Is any members wishing to comment or ask any questions? Any in the chamber? No. Councillor Watkins.
Just to clarify, with the timetable, the timescale so far, we will note that it's moved from June to July. Can you just clarify what the reason for this is? And also, is it likely that that's going to happen again later in the process, or is that something specific to that time?
The reason for the proposed change was because of a date change to propose a licensing committee dates due to availability of officers. So we were due to meet at the end of June, but unfortunately we had to push it back to July because of availability of key officers that needed to be here today. It won't change. We are under strict deadlines to get this back and implemented by the 1st of November. It's scheduled to go to Council in October, so it will be brought back to members in September. So this will not change. This is the timetable we will now follow.
Okay, thank you. No, that's
Happy with that?
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Claire, anyway. Any other questions before we move on to the recommendations from any member? No. Thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
Who was that, sorry?
It's Nick.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
No, it's right. I didn't press the wrong button. So the public consultation for the 8 weeks, is that starting this month, and when in this month is it starting?
It is anticipated to start next week.
Thank you.
Are you okay with that, Nick? Anything you want to?
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that.
That's
So
great,
it's halfway through July, so it's going to be going into September, isn't it? If it's 8 weeks.
Just to note, Chair, as well, we recognise we are on a tight timescale, but we have every faith that we will meet that timescale. We have done initial consultation with the trade, so every licence holder has been written to, and those initial before we go out for full consultation, we have invited the trade and representatives to make comment on our current policy. So hopefully, people are aware that it's come in, because I advised them when I wrote out to them that they would receive a revised draft version. So hopefully, it is doable.
Councillor Watkins.
Sorry, so just to confirm what Councillor Hawley was saying, if it's 8 weeks then it is going to take us into September, because there isn't 8 weeks left into just July and August, is there?
It's about, yeah, but we will have 8 weeks before the next licensing panel hearing, so yeah, we will stick to that timescale as best we can.
But going into September, not August?
Sorry, yeah, going into September, yeah, that should have been September, not August, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, lovely. If there's no more questions, then the recommendations are on page 31 of your agenda. The members agreed with the recommendations? Yeah. Are they happy to agree with that? Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And move on to item 7, which is the date of the next meeting, which is 25th of the 9th, 25. And I'd like to thank members for their input today, and this is the end of the meeting. So thank you for your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Cheers all. Bye.